What is up, Facebook? My name is Connor Schwerdtfeger, and I'm a staff writer here at CinemaBlend.com. And today, well, first of all, welcome to HeroBlend. That's the show that you're watching today. Your usual host, Eric, is out today. But today we're going to talk about a topic that I think I know a thing or two about, and I think I can help you guys, and we're just going to get up to speed on the DC Extended Universe. I almost said the DC Cinematic Universe, but Marvel kind of has a claim on that moniker. But yeah, we're going to talk about just all of the DCEU projects that are coming up over the next few years. Some that we know are coming, some that, you know, are rumored, some in pre-production, and just the ones that we've heard a little bit about but maybe have gone radio silent for a while. So we're going to dive into all of that. And obviously, if you guys have questions throughout this whole thing, you know, drop them into the comments. We'll try to get to as many of them as we can. So without further ado, I think we should just get started, right? So the first question came from Alan Williams, and you dropped that question in before we started this, and you said, quote, "I know it's a very short cameo, but what's the deal with Green Lantern?" And what I think, Alan, what you're referring to is the Green Lantern cameo in Justice League during the flashback sequence when we sort of see Steppenwolf's original attempt at conquest on Earth, and we see a member of the Green Lantern Corps. He's clearly very alien. He kind of looks like Tomarei, but he's not Tomarei. And he dies in battle alongside the Amazonians and the Atlanteans and a few other of the gods, and his ring flies off into the world or into the universe, sorry. And that's the first glimpse that we get of the Green Lantern Corps in the DCEU. Now, the Green Lantern Corps does exist. We're going to get a Green Lantern Corps movie, and all of the evidence seems to suggest that it's going to be a Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart buddy cop type movie, but we don't yet know who's going to play Hal Jordan or Jon Stewart. So right now, Green Lantern Corps has been, from the very beginning, one of those movies that's furthest off sort of in the ethos. We don't really know too much about it. There have been rumors that Chris McQuarrie from the Mission Impossible movies has been circling it to possibly direct, but nothing is confirmed on that front. You know, we don't have really any talent locked down for that movie yet. So all we can really say about Green Lantern in the DC Extended Universe at this point is that the movie is coming. They're gonna do a Green Lantern movie at some point. They just have to distance it from the Ryan Reynolds movie that I'm not a huge fan of. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a huge fan of it. And they're gonna establish the other heroes first before they move into that thing that they attempted a few years ago. But we're going to move on from that one, and Brad Keeson asks, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering anybody's name, mine's impossible to pronounce as well, but the question is, what will Wonder Woman 2 be about? And that is also a very fascinating question, because we have a little bit more information than we do about something like Green Lantern Corps, but we don't have a ton of information to work with yet. We know that Patty Jenkins is returning to direct, we know that Gal Gadot is returning as Diana Prince, and we know that Kristen Wiig is going to star as Cheetah, as the Barbara Minerva version of Cheetah, which is arguably, I would say, the most iconic version of Cheetah. There have been a few over the years, but that's the one. She is transformed into a cheetah-like entity by a blood ritual, like a tribal ritual, and she has a deep-seated hatred of Wonder Woman. And given the number of liberties that have been taken with DC Comics in the DCEU, it's hard to say exactly how this will play out. But another thing to note about Wonder Woman 2 is the fact that the rumors that we've heard related to this movie, and again, a lot of this is rumors, nothing's been confirmed, we don't have like a log line for this movie yet, is that it'll take place in the United States, and it'll take place in the 1980s. So that raises a lot of questions because, as everyone knows from Justice League and Batman v Superman and Wonder Woman, the solo movie, Diana was in hiding between being on the battlefields with Steve Trevor in World War I and eventually coming out of the shadows to fight Doomsday with Batman and Superman in 2016. So if this movie does take place in not in World War I, during the Cold War in like the 1980s, then Diana can't really be out in the open too much, and that raises questions about sort of what we can expect from the story. Will it be like a spy mission in the Cold War? Will it, it's hard to say, but the basic bare bones that we have at this point are Cheetah's in it, Kristen Wiig is playing Cheetah, and that it might take place in the 1980s in the United States. So that's that's kind of what we have to work with right now. But we have another question about another DC movie's premise coming out, and it's Larry Parrish asks, how about a Flash movie? Is Affleck staying on as Batman? And you threw in some exclamation points in there. And okay, so the Flash movie is happening. It was, I mean, based on the original DC slate, supposed to come out last month, but obviously things get shuffled around, and you know that things happen in the DC world, so it's not coming out just yet. We know that it was supposed to be called Flashpoint. It might not be called Flashpoint. They might call it The Flash or something like that, but it might not actually be called Flashpoint. But it still might adapt the Flashpoint storyline, which is Barry Allen going back in time to prevent the murder of his mother. As a result, he creates a time boom, basically, that turns the entire universe into a dystopian world. I almost said dystopian future, but a dystopian world where Bruce Wayne's dad is Batman, a murderous gun-toting Batman because Bruce Wayne died in Crime Alley. Superman crash-landed in Metropolis and has been held prisoner in like a government facility his entire life, so he's all skinny because he's never had sunlight. There's a war going on between the Atlanteans and the Themyscira, excuse me. And then, and Barry Allen doesn't have his powers. And Flashpoint was made into a fan favorite animated movie a couple years back, and it also was recently adapted on the Flash TV series, but really loose compared to like what the actual Flashpoint story is. So, given the what's been established in the DCEU, there's going to be some changes made to that Flashpoint storyline, and a lot of people think that this could be a way to reboot the DCEU and reset a lot of things, specifically when it comes to Ben Affleck's Batman, because a lot of people have talked about the possibility of Affleck's Batman maybe Flashpoint would be the last appearance of the Affleck Batman before somebody else comes in for the cape and cowl, because there's been talk about, again, a lot of this stuff is so rumor-based, and we don't exactly know, but there's been talk about maybe Jake Gyllenhaal coming in for the Matt Reeves Batman movie, or even rumors of John Hamm. So we don't exactly know, but we know that the Flash movie is likely to adapt Flashpoint, and if you haven't read the Flashpoint book, definitely read that. And yeah, and that Wonder Woman and all those people might appear. Basically, it could be like Justice League 1.5 in the same way that Captain America Civil War kind of was like Avengers 2.5. So that's the basic bare bones of what we're going to get out of the Flash movie, as far as we know at this point, because, again, so many things change. But we have another question coming in from Ron Perez asking, what's going on with Black Adam and The Rock? And that's really hard to say because we were so gung-ho and ready to go for that Black Adam movie, right? But it sounds like it's still happening, but it seems like it went from a priority for DC and kind of got pushed back on the back burner. There have been rumors lately that Black Adam might be folded in with Suicide Squad 2, which will be directed by Gavin O'Connor and bring back a lot of the cast members from the original Suicide Squad. Excuse me. And maybe that they're searching for like a quote-unquote weapon of mass destruction for Amanda Waller, and that weapon of mass destruction could turn out to be Black Adam portrayed by The Rock, because there's a lot of rumors that say, even though Black Adam is Shazam's arch nemesis, and Shazam is coming out on April 5th, 2019, it's already in production up in Canada and like well underway, there are rumors that Dwayne Johnson won't be in Shazam. So there's a good solid chance that the first appearance of Black Adam in the DCEU could be in Suicide Squad 2. And as for the Black Adam movie, it's hard to say, because with so many things that have changed in the DCEU lately, it's just, it could be happening, it might not be happening. It definitely doesn't seem like a priority at this stage, and I think that's where I would leave that. But Francis Mendy asks, and this is a question that I've been dying to answer, is will there be a Batman movie that will be a prequel to Man of Steel? Sorry, I'm having a hard time reading. But the answer to that is we don't really know if it's going to be a prequel to Man of Steel, because Matt Reeves, who's directing the solo Batman movie, he took over for Ben Affleck when he stepped down. He sort of played fast and loose with where it's going to be set and how connected it's going to be to other things. But DC kind of wrote themselves into a corner when they made Dawn of Justice, because you basically, if you do The Dark Knight Returns first, which is like the older, grizzled, retired Batman, then there aren't a lot of Batman stories left for you to do. So logically, I would sort of assume that maybe it will take place in a pre-Man of Steel era, because otherwise there's a lot of questions that have to be answered about, like, why doesn't he call Superman or anything like that. But it's hard to say. But we don't know anything about the story of Matt Reeves' Batman movie. We think that Joe Manganiello, I can never say his name right, but is still playing Deathstroke in it. But we also know that a Deathstroke movie is coming, so maybe that's why he's still part of the DCEU, because of the Justice League post-credit scene that includes Deathstroke. But yeah, it's hard to say. And I think actually that is all the time we have for today, you guys. So I just want to thank all of you guys for joining us here on HeroBlend today. And if you have, any questions, comments, or concerns, just feel free to hit us up on social media. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot, guys.